Welcome to another episode of the Scottish Property Podcast. My name's Nick Boddy. I'm here with Stephen Clark. How you doing, mate?
Good, thanks, Nick. How are you?
All good, thank you. Yes, another day, another interview. Who have we got on today?
So today we've got John Paul Reilly, so the guest that you asked on, and we both know him. He's a client of yours, but we both know him quite well through Instagram and social media. He's a real positive guy.
I've never talked to the guy, and he's been kind of downbeat. He's always, anytime I've hit him with a problem, and he's like my dream client, because a lot of landlords you'll go to, and it's like, oh no, I don't know about that. No, have you not tried this? And have you not tried that? And no, can we not do this? But you'll ask him, you'll phone him up with a problem, and he'll be like, just do what you need to do to sort it. Just get it sorted. Keep the tenant happy. If it costs that much money, that's what needs to be done. And I really respect that, because it shows me that he's got bigger fish to fry. He's got bigger ambitions. He is not wasting his energy and his mind on fretting about that small stuff. Do you know what I mean? I think that's when you start getting to good levels of going somewhere in life.
No, absolutely. And we talk about his obviously his property portfolio, how he scaled that through outsourcing, but also his bathroom company. I mean, that's kind of a lot about his mindset and the troubles he had in business, and how his mindset kind of gets him through it. Why he outsources, and personal development. It's quite a cool chat, very interesting chat.
Yeah, so he's been running his bathroom company for a while now, and like you said, he's had some failures as well. He's had some failings in the past, but obviously that does lead to making yourself stronger in business and decisions you make moving forward. So it was a great chat.
He did mention as well, like we asked him about the kind of the toughest time where his mindsets had to play a huge important thing, and he touched on wanting to just walk out the door, close, switch the phone off, walk away. Like, it sounded quite to a bad point, and he dug himself up and pulled himself out of the problem. So it did sound like he's went through some shit to build his business to where it is, but he's got there through having that positive, resilient mindset.
Yeah, let's just get straight into the chat with John Paul Reilly. So I am delighted to welcome John Paul Reilly. How you doing, John Paul? You are a friend, a client, a neighbour, and we're delighted to have you on the Scottish Property Podcast. Welcome.
Thanks very much. I'm living the dream as always. It's the only way you'll ever get me.
And you're my social media buddy as well. You're my Instagram buddy, mate.
I'm your Instagram buddy. We are indeed.
You are, mate. You are.
If you want a bit of positivity, and you want a bit of spread the positivity, then go to John Paul's Instagram account, because you do daily videos, mate, and it's all about kind of like, business mindset. You try to spread that positive vibe. I just wanted to ask you, have you always been that happy and positive? Like, what's going on there? Every time I open up the videos, man, I'm like, wow, this guy's like on it.
Yes. I've always been an optimist. I've always been the guy that's like, I don't worry about that, man. Like, your leg gets blown off, and I'm like, but you can get you one of the plastic ones, it'll be fine. I've always been that kind of positive mindset that nothing's really impossible. Anything you really want to set your mind to, you can do. Even though my social circles when I was younger maybe wasn't of the same mindset as myself, I didn't let it stop me. I'm very much, it'll be all right. We'll be all right.
Look, let me ask you a question with something, because I'm very much off similar to you, but I know that shit does get to me. What's almost beaten you? What's almost broken you? From someone that's maybe seen as all positive, none can get them down. What's almost fucking cracked you? And how do you think that kind of your mindset helped you to resolve around that situation?
So maybe 2-3 years ago, I was really struggling in business. I wasn't doing a very good job, if I'm completely honest. We were winning awards. We were doing really well in the front end of things, but financially wasn't going very well. I didn't have control of my guys. Cash flow was really, really bad. Worst day in business would be getting up in the morning, personal accounts overdrawn, business accounts overdrawn, have no cash in my pocket. It's Friday, £5,000 wage bill, and that would be rock bottom. That would be really rock bottom. And I was like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? And I was really down. I struggled, but because you know it's coming. You know that event's coming to you, and you're doing your best. And I decided that I've got a choice. I can either let all of these people down who are expecting to get paid, and if I don't pay them, they're not going to be here on Monday to start the next job. So I better drag my sorry arse out of bed and get going. So I got up, get ready, basted in, did what I had to do, got money in the bank, accounts weren't overdrawn anymore by 5 o'clock, wages were all paid. And when you get over something like that, as hard as that, I didn't eat that day because I had no money to buy food. I had nothing. I was too ashamed, really, to tell my wife, like, I've got no money, can I get a packed lunch today? Because I was too ashamed. And that was probably the lowest point. But I dusted myself down, got on with it. And then the result was, wages were paid. We were all good. And when you go over something like that, pretty much anything else is okay. Do you know, a tap has came damaged, a shower screen has came broken, or a bath came damaged. Is that it? Is that it? I've had a lot worse days than this. And that's what got me going again. And mental health is a big thing in business, and people brush over it because they feel they need a persona to not show how they really are. But there's been days, or that week, that I was for turning my phone off, walking out my house, and nobody would ever see me again. But I decided that I couldn't leave that onus on my wife and children because they would be left to pick up the mess. And that's really why I got up and got on that day. But yeah, that's probably the hardest thing that almost broke me. I've had days
I can relate to that. I can relate to a very similar situation. What about personally then? Do you put this this positive mindset in your personal life as well, not just in business life?
Yeah.
You must be like, you must drive your fucking wife up the wall.
She hates it. She hates it. So when I get up in the morning, I'll always say good morning to my wife, tell her I love her, and remind myself that I'm lucky to have her because I think my wife's amazing. Anybody that knows me at all will know how much I adore my wife. And some days when she's having a wee rant, a wee vent because she's not happy about something that happened or somebody said something, I'm like, yeah, but is that just how you're taking it? Or is that the reality of it? Is that how you're choosing to do that? Because you could look at it this way. And she's like, shut the fuck up. I just want to moan.
let me fucking rant. Let me shout.
I hope my wife's not listening to this, by the way. She'd be like, can you not be a bit more like him in the morning?
You wouldn't want to be married to me, I can assure you. And every day when I get up, I spread that positive at my kids. So every morning, I'll maybe, depending on what mood they wake up or whereabouts they are in the house, if the wee ones are just making a noise and need into the room to get them up, I'll sing good morning to them. And I'll be all smiles and happy because that starts their day off in a positive. And if you start the day off in a positive, you get more chance of having a positive day. So yeah, in my personal life as well, it's pretty much the same.
I'm conscious that we've kind of skipped onto some mindset stuff, and we know you, and we'll all give an introduction at the start of this interview. But what is your business? Give us a bit of background on your business and what have you done, and kind of how did it evolve?
I've got a property portfolio that Nick manages for me. I've got a multi-award winning bathroom company that does 7 figures. I did have a podcast, but I've been focusing on other things, so I've not released any episodes for a wee while.
Did I sink it, mate?
Pardon?
Did I sink it when I came on?
No, no. I just found it was becoming a chore and not something I was enjoying because I had lots of other things to do and manage. And you've got to balance it all up, and that had to park for a wee while with the growth. And I'm a business coach as well, so I coach small businesses, mainly trades businesses, and accountants. I've got an accountant there that's looking to be onboarded, where I'll help them with processes, procedures, limiting beliefs to the side, and just get on with it and get their growth. The last client I had doubled their turnover within 8 weeks. Profit margins were up, and they had a better work-life balance to the point where they said, I was out cutting the grass on Sunday, John Paul, and my wife came out with a beer for me. I must be doing something right. She's never did that before. So that's the kind of things I focus on. But it's a lot of work-life balance and how you get that work-life balance.
So look, one of the reasons I got you on today was because you are a property investor, so you understand that side of things. And obviously, we are a podcast for property investors, but I think what will be really useful for people today is to understand the kind of, the business behind, people who are wanting to run a business in property. And because you're a business owner as well, successful business owner in your bathroom business, we're going to take a little bit of that and mix it into the property. So see when you started up your bathroom business and that, did you start off in the tools? Were you out there doing the plumbing, the tiling, all that sort of stuff? Or did you quite quickly realise that was something that your time was not well spent on?
I am a manager of people. I am not a tradesman. So I'm not a tailor, a joiner, or a plumber, or any of those things. I am a manager of people. So the opportunity, I was doing property development. The opportunity to open the bathroom shop came along from someone who also had a bathroom and kitchen shop, and they wanted to franchise their business. They turned out just to be a charlatan and just wanted my money and had no real understanding. Although they had a business for a while, they had no real understanding of how to implement things other than just to shout at people and blame everybody else, and that was his ethos. So that relationship disappeared very quickly, and I was standing there on my own going, oh, I've got a business to run here. I don't really know what I'm doing. So I very quickly had to learn. I did go out in jobs to have an understanding of how things were done. So I would drop the stuff off in the morning. I would maybe hang about and help rip out a bathroom, because that's a bit of fun, destroying stuff, ripping things to bits. I would want to learn how they did things, not necessarily do those things that they were doing, but I wanted to know why they were doing something in a particular way, why they did it in a particular order. So if we ever came across something again with somebody else, I would have the knowledge to say, well, actually, we've came across this before, and this is what we did the last time, and it worked. And it very quickly evolved from there to being the guy that ran about from 6 in the morning to 7, 8 at night, like a headless chicken, to where I'm at now. And that's how it evolved. But no, I wasn't on the tools, if you like. I was always just a manager of people.
Cool. And just to give people an idea of kind of like how you've managed to build yourself, like how long you've been going, what sort of like, you know, level are you at now? I mean, you don't need to say exact figures, but like how many kind of, let's put a scale on it. How many bathroom installs would you do? I don't know, a month or something like that?
Okay, so our birthday was on the 10th of October, so 7 years on the 10th of October there. We do 2 bathroom installations a week, most weeks. We're really busy just now, so we'll be doing 3 and 4, which is a bit unusual for us. But it will also give us a taste what it would like to bring it to that kind of level of installations per week. We've went from 2 years ago, averaging 40, 50k a month on average, to 80, 90k now. Never quite made the 6-figure mark. And I think in June, I was £700 short, which really annoyed the life out of me of making that 6-figure in sales.
Just because you wanted to get that book out, didn't you? You wanted to get that 6-figure sale book.
I did. I wanted to, and the funny thing is, I'm not motivated by money. Yes, it's very important. Yes, we need to have goals, targets, sales targets, income targets, and all the rest of it. It's how we pay our mortgages. It's how we have our lives. But my goals have shifted over the years. So it used to be, I want £1 million business. I didn't really understand what that was. I want £1 million business, so I could say to people, I've got £1 million business, and not really understanding what that really meant. Whereas now I want a business where I don't really need to be there. I can have a great work-life balance. I get to spend time with my loved ones. I get to book a holiday and not worry about it. Like a couple of weeks ago, I get drunk. I don't really drink, but I get drunk. Somebody bought me a bottle of gin for my birthday. Got drunk. My wife said, "Oh, I wish we were going on holiday," and blah blah blah. 10:30 at night, drunk John Paul books a holiday for I think £3,000 or something like that. And I was able to wake up the next day and laugh about it, that I just spent £3,000, opposed to waking up in the morning going, I shouldn't have spent that £3,000. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And that's one of the goals for myself and a business. It's went from, I wanted the headline figure of I want £1 million business, to I want to have the best work-life balance I could possibly achieve. And I don't need to be the richest guy, and I don't need to do more sales than anybody else. I just need to have more than enough for me and my family.
Did you put that holiday through your business, a taxable expense?
I really can't remember what bank card I used, or I just handed the bank card to my wife and she booked it.
Moving on. Right, so let's talk about the power of leverage then, and the power of delegating, outsourcing, all that sort of stuff. You know, myself and Stephen have talked about this in the past, and I think, Stephen, you see it quite a lot, don't you? With like, especially people that come to you for kind of, you know, in the course, the property course, and that, like people with a trades background, especially, and they can kind of get caught up in doing all the kind of property renovation works themselves, as opposed to actually being the guy out there sourcing deals, which is the kind of bit that drives the property business, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? They get kind of bogged down with all these things like doing all the work, which they could outsource. So how important is that, John Paul, when you want to try and kind of scale up and get to succeed? Do you know what I mean? And what can people be thinking about doing in that respect?
So if you want to scale, you will need to hire people, whether you outsource them, whether you have subcontractors, whether you use like a Fiverr.com type thing or whatever these websites allow you to do for a minimal cost. If you can think along the lines of, if you're a plumber or a joiner or a tiler or an anybody, you have the same 24 hours in a day. That allows you to earn a maximum. There'll be a day you get to your maximum and you will not make any more money because you physically can't do it. So if you're wanting to go beyond that, you need to outsource. You need to get leverage in time. You need to get people to do things for you on your behalf. And it's only if you're wanting to scale up, you'll need to do that. If you are quite happy just with X a month, then that's great if that's for you. But if you want to leverage things to get more, it's inevitable and it's so important. And you can make a lot of mistakes doing it. You can not set boundaries, not set limitations, not outline what you're expecting from these people. And if you don't do any of those things, they'll just do what they want. So it's very, very important to get that right, that you outline what you're wanting from the person you're leveraging. So Nick, you're my letting agent, you sort my refurbs for me. That frees up so much more of my time that I can go and look to do other things. I can record things like this. I can go and have breakfast with my family in the morning instead of being at work. I can finish early. I can focus on the business, the bathroom business, to make improvements in that, because there's always improvements to be made in there. And these are the things you need to do, to leverage, but you need to make sure you're leveraging for the right reasons.
And getting the right people as well, that's important, isn't it? Do you know what I mean?
The people thing is so important. So I've had staff in the past who were awful, just awful. They cost you money. They don't make you money, they cost you money. And if you don't have the, I wouldn't say bravery, but if you don't have the belief that things need to be done in your terms, that other people are happy with, then they'll run amok with you. There's people who have a job, whether it be a subcontractor or an outsourcer, they will do enough not to get sacked and no more. So if you're allowing somebody to do very little and not get sacked, they'll do very little. If you have a high standard that you're sticking to and you're like, this is what we need to be done today, and if you can't do that, if you can't perform, then you're no good to me. Then they will perform to that level. It's how you frame it to them. But people will do what they can get away with when it comes to these things. So you need to make sure you get the right team around you. If you've got the wrong team around you, you're just flinging your money away.
And what sort of systems do you put in place to manage your staff like that? Like, you know, your work instructions and, you know, so it's their expectations set up front of what they need to do and in what time frame and all that kind of stuff. So system you use for that?
Yes. So when we're taking on subcontractors to do our installations, you have a chat with them on the phone and you then meet them in person. You then see their work, and then they can get going. And when you're speaking to them initially, you say, this is what we do. We're in a multi-award winning company. This is why we're a multi-award winning company. We look after people and we do a really good job. And we conduct ourselves in a professional manner. We're in people's houses. Are you that kind of guy? Is that what you work to just now? And you can tell for their reaction whether they're like that or not. I had one subcontractor who didn't even get beyond the phone call situation, the first initial stage, and his name was Shu. I can't remember his surname. So he was like, I can do everything, mate. You're brilliant. Yeah, no bother. I was like, that's good. I'll come and see your job you're on this week, and we'll have a wee chat. I'll get back to you. And I've never heard from him since. So you know that he's just talking a good game, and that when you're challenging him to prove how good he is, then they disappear. I'll show them pictures of installations we've done, and it'll be, see this bathroom, see that lines up with this, and that's done like that. That's the way it needs to be done. Can you do that? Yes, I can. That's good. And do you understand that when you do an installation for JPR, you're representing us. So if you make a mess of it, you can disappear. Nobody will know who you are, but it'll be me that gets the bad name. Right, that's good. You understand that. Do you realise you'll get paid when the customer signs off the job and they're happy? And if they go, oh, well, so they just want to get in and out and get paid, whether they leave a good job or a bad job. So you need to set out these boundaries right early doors. This is what I'm expecting. This is what you'll get in return. And it's fair exchange then, because they know what's expected of them. I know what they're expecting of me, and everybody's happy. But as if it's tilted to the one side more than the other, then it's not going to work, because there'll be resentment built up there. So if somebody's doing installations for you and they're really expensive, they're written arse out of it, then you're not going to use them again, because it's tilted too much in their favour. Whereas if they do a good job and they're reasonably priced, you're happy, they're happy with what they're getting paid, you're happy paying it, you're both happy with the end result, and the client's really happy, then you've got that balance there and you can move forward with them.
Yeah. No, it's really good points. I mean, so not everybody's, at the point of, building, a a £1 million business like you were on the way to do there, and you just got cut short. But, for the people who are investing in a property business, building a portfolio, that sort of thing, Stephen, I'm just trying to give some advice to listeners here about, what they could be doing specifically to kind of manage their time and leverage other people. We already mentioned about getting a letting agent there, so that can free up a lot of time. Guys, what other things could people be doing, or that they're guilty of doing, that might possibly just sort of prevent them from, taking it to that next level? Can you think of anything? Anybody? Stephen, you see this.
A lot of people went.
Sorry, John Paul.
I don't treat property like a hobby. I see people coming in and they've got a job or a business, and this is an experiment for them. This is a hobby for them. This is something they're going to try. Doesn't really matter how it works out too much for them, etc. They've got a bit of money there, and then when they do that, they're not efficient. They'll not get their flip done in the shortest time possible, but it's still at the standard that is needed to be done. They'll be like, oh, I might go around this weekend and do a wee bit of painting, and then they'll get drunk on the Friday night and they're off on the Saturday, and they were supposed to do some work in that house and they don't do it because they're too hungover. You can't be doing that in property. You need to be on it. You need to be keeping an eye on what you're spending, what your end value is going to be, your end result, what you're looking for. One of my brothers talked about getting property for years, but he didn't actually know why he wanted property as well. That was one of the things for people getting into property: understand what you're wanting out of it. Like, he said, oh, I just want to get a wee flat. And I'm like, all right, cool. What do you want? My friend and I were sitting, he's got a decent portfolio as well, and he was like, well, so what do you want out of it? And he's like, I just want a wee flat. He's like, are you want capital growth? Are you wanting a kind of steady income from it? What is it, your plans for it? And he's like, I just want a wee flat.
I can tell the pals in the pub that I've got a property.
Aye, that type thing, just to be part of the gang of people sitting there who have properties.
Yeah.
And you need to understand why you're wanting to do something. When I get into property, it was by accident. I seen an opportunity and made the most of it after that point. But it was get in, refinance, and get the cash flow for the rest of your life. And at one point, those properties will be paid off, and that'll be a very nice wee pension pot for you. And that was my reasoning behind it. But some people just think, oh, people talk about getting into property and it's dead good, and it's property's good. People give you money, it's good, but they don't really think about what they're actually wanting it for. Is it for a retirement pot later on? Are they wanting to flip to get more money? They treat it like a hobby and they don't give it too much thought.
I think that's
the first morning on my workshop talking the exact same thing. The mindset, what the property is, and what it could do for your lifestyle, but be kind of clear and focused that it's not one size fits all. This is completely unique to everyone's situation, but be absolutely fucking laser focused why you want it and what you want out of it. Because if you don't, you're going to start looking at flipping everything, and you don't know what you're going to look at. And like you say, there's no deadlines, there's no set money left in, profit made, cash flow fucking targets. Like, there's just nothing. If you don't know exactly what you're looking for, you're just going to go in fucking hazy and make mistakes and start going everywhere.
I think that see on the kind of outsourcing, delegating, right? I love all this stuff as well. I think that it's definitely the way forward. It's got to be the way forward. But I think there's definitely something to be said right at the start of actually putting in that work and hard graft, when it's like your first couple of projects, to get in there on site, be doing some of the work, get involved, see the fabric of the built, structure, what happens, because it provides a basic foundation and an understanding about actually what goes in, how much work you're putting into the thing. and you know what you're paying people to do that work as well. So I think that is good. And the same when you run the business as well. Like, you know, obviously you've got to do it all yourself at the start. And, you know, still, you know, I've been running my business for what, 4 years now, and I'm still doing like 12-hour days. Do you know what I mean? I need to come and see you about that, John Paul, and get a wee one-to-one mentoring session. But so that needs to change. And it's all about kind of building it up to that level where then you can have that money that you can just set aside for those tasks and to get somebody to do those tasks that I hate, like the admin stuff and all the rest of it, you know, or if you're renovating a flat, I see it quite a lot, you know, a lot like my landlord clients, you know, they're busting a gut 9 till 5 and they're 9 till 5, and then they're taking on a property project on the side, and they're doing the painting and, you know, they're putting in tiling and all the rest of it. And because they're doing it all themselves, they're taking ages to get this property complete. You know, they're taking like 6 months to do a minor refurb. And by the time that they've done that, they could have done it in like a couple of months, and it could have been on the market, rented for 4 months. They could have been earning all that money, and they've lost out on that. So they might have saved themselves a couple of £100, but it's actually going to cost them in the long term. And they've lost out on all that time with their family and all the rest of it.
Yeah, people don't think 5 steps ahead. There's a book called Your Next 5 Moves. I can't remember who wrote it, but it's a really, really important book for anybody to have a listen or read to. If you sit down and go, if I do my 9 to 5 and then go do my refurb myself, what's it going to cost me? Yes, it'll be cheaper because you're not paying someone, but what's the implementation? What's the actual overall bigger picture cost? It's 6 mortgage payments.
The personal cost on your life, your family life, you know,
and you could end up resenting the property. You could end up resenting it because you're just fed up to the back teeth of having to work all day, slog away, and then slog away at night, slog away at the weekend. You're not seeing your kids, you're not seeing your wife's getting annoyed at you, your partner's getting annoyed at you. Or alternatively, you could pay Nick, and that's what I do. I pay Nick.
But I think I'm on Nick's side of this to a certain extent, because yes, at a level when you get to the point where you outsource that and start scaling the business, absolutely. But I completely believe that if you're not willing to put in the hard fucking graft up front and do 16, 18, 20, 21-hour days for your first 1 or 2 projects or starting your business, you don't know what grit and determination is. So when shit goes wrong and you need to do this, you don't know how deep you can, how hard you can deep, and how hard you can fucking go to make sure that you're getting out of the shit. Whereas people that can maybe start off it quite easy and fluffy, and they've got some cash to then go and pay it, they don't know, they don't have that in them to then try and see how it's made. That's my pet point on that, I think.
I think you've either got that grit and determination as a person or you don't. When people get backed into a corner, that's when you see who they really are.
Fight or flight.
Yeah, definitely. So like when I was up against it and I had no money and I was struggling, I could have either just crawled into a wee ball and cried and done nothing, or I could have went, that will be right, I'm not failing today, let's get going. There are 2 types of people. You do need to have an understanding of what's involved in a property, because there's a lot of people out there who will try and charge you a fortune for nothing. I was listening to Stephen Bartlett's podcast, and one of the One Direction guys on, and he was getting asked a couple of questions, and he kept looking towards his manager, and he's like, why do you keep looking to your manager? And I went, well, he's always seen me all right, because when I first got money and get fame, people were coming around and going, oh, it's £1,000 to do that, when it should have been £100. It was literally that much, because he was going away and talk to his manager, and his manager's going, what are you doing? So you need to have an understanding of what things cost. So you need to be involved, maybe not completely hands-on, and maybe not completely hands-off, but you need to be in some form of involvement of whether you're going to get 3 quotes for everything.
Yeah,
that's what your involvement is, because you're making sure you're going to get the right guy at the right price.
And that's a starting point as well. If you're starting when a high-powered position career and a couple $100,000 a year salary, and you've got extra cash, and you could do it. You can nip it in the project. You can maybe have a wee bit of understanding, but you can afford to outsource that and pay it. But if you're in your early 20s, ready to start building a property portfolio, you need to fucking get in there and get your hands dirty and understand like the makeup of a property. Save a wee bit of money, but like you say, don't be too cautious taking a year to do a project that could have taken 3 months, and you're making £1,000 rent roll for that time period. But I think that knowledge and that experience will set you right going forward. For the exact point you were mentioning there, John Paul, that you need to understand that people will try and rip you off in this game as well, and in all businesses, not just in property. But if they think they can take an easy win and charge you a hell of a lot more because you don't know what the price is, they will. It's human nature. they'll be greedy.
Yeah. And what you'll find is when you're naive to things, or you don't have a particular great experience in something, the vultures will come out. When you get a better understanding, you get more experience, and you've done something more often than not, the vultures very quickly disappear, and then the good guys come along.
Yes,
and
you attract the good guys around you, the good people around you, with what you put out.
Yeah. It's as somebody said to me when I was dating years ago, and he went, John Paul, see if you keep going to shite places, you'll keep meeting shite people. So it's getting yourself in that position to be around the right people, but you've also got to be wary of vultures out there. And if you're vulnerable, the vultures come out. If you're in a positive, strong position, you've got experience and an understanding, you can very quickly say no to them, and they'll start to disappear from you. So you need to be very wary of that. And that's in every walk of life, I think. Whether it's around Dodger in the pub that's meant to be your pal, or it's somebody who's doing a bit of work for you on a refurb, or whether it's a member of staff, it doesn't matter. If you, what you put out is what you get back. So if you're putting out a strong, positive, confident energy that you have an understanding of what's involved in your refurb, you will get people who want to be working with someone who knows what they're talking about and understands it. You just let them crack on, do a good job, opposed to somebody going, is that all right? I don't really know what I'm doing here. And the vultures will just be attracted to that energy, and they'll just suck the life out of you.
I think it's difficult, especially in property at the moment, especially because like even if you want to outsource everyone and get trades in to do everything, it's actually sometimes at the moment it's really difficult because everyone's so busy, you know, like it's difficult to get good tradesmen at the moment. So sometimes you're kind of left in that thought, fuck, I'm just better off doing it myself because it'll probably be one quicker and it will just be less hassle. And I think that's obviously the wrong mindset, but in this moment in time, I can imagine a lot of people thinking that. The other thing that I was going to say was, sorry, John Paul, do you want to come back on that?
That's been experience and getting your network around you. You don't. We're talking from a position of experience here. We're not talking from someone who's just doing something for the first time. It takes time to build your network. It takes time to build the right guys around you, and so yes, everyone is really busy just now, and the construction industry is booming and the property market's booming, but your regular guys know you're the regular guy. So they will be like, I'm going to go and do that for them because they always give me work. I could go and get £5,000 here, or I could get £1,000 here, but that £1,000 is a one-off. That £1,000 is going to be regular for the rest of my working days.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's a good point, and it takes
really good point.
It takes a long time to build that up. I mean, like I've been working with the same electrician now for about 7 or 8 years, and I know that guy is fully loyal to me. He will drop anything to help me out because I've given him so much work over those 7, 8 years. And, you know, I've got another guy, you know, plumbers, usually like I've got a plumber, electrician, joiner, these main trades that I've been using for a long time. But the other day I get kind of caught out because like there was a tenant that was having issues with a patio, right? So it's slabs. So something that we don't usually deal with a lot is kind of landscaping, because most of my properties are flats, right? So you're not dealing with that sort of works. And then I was like, right, who can I call on here? So I got a couple of recommendations, and that was last week. And I phoned a few people. Still can't get anybody out to even quote for it. Do you know what I mean? So
it's because it takes time. Because they don't know you, and you don't know the value you give them. I had something similar with a landscaper on the Bridge Earn project. I don't know if I shared it on the podcast, but it was someone I've given work to for probably 11, 12 years. Has worked for me, like regular. Throughout the winter, landscapers are dead, no work. I'm the one that's still flipping houses and doing up a refurb, stuff like that. So loyalty works both ways completely. The wage, his kind of day rate back then was £100 a day. And when I started to kind of take this business more seriously as a business, 5, 6 years ago, he wanted £200 a day, and I thought, fuck you type thing. So I went and tried to outsource it to a landscaping company, and they made an arse of the job, and the price were expensive. And I realised his value was his value, and I said, well, okay, I know what I'm getting with you. You put in the work. We're loyal to each other. I'll pay you the £200 a day. So for 6 years, I paid him £200 a day. And sometimes I'll win out these jobs, and sometimes he'll win out. But it's a loyalty thing. It's a give and take. So he done Bridge Earn, done all the easy bits, the roughing bits, the shit, shoveling shit, digging bits out, and all this kind of nonsense. We come to the end of the job, and it's laying monoblock, and it's laying turf. There's stuff that he's going to lay 100 square meters of monoblocking for me in 3 days and get £600. He probably could charge somebody £6,000 for it, and he's going to go and lay turf for the back for £400, and he could probably charge him £1,000 for it. So we got to the end of the job. Bearing in mind the landscaping costs fucking £14,000 on this job. we got to the end of the job, and he goes, I'm not coming back for £200 a day. You let you go and pay my mere rent. I'm no, fucking loyal here. But because the work was booming and coming out his ears, and there's people asking, and he's getting a high demand. I says no. I says, I'm not fucking. We've got a relationship. We've got an understanding. I says no. I says sometimes I'll win, like the monoblock and the turf. Sometimes you'll be scraping fucking shit and sweeping up, or materials won't come, and you're still getting £200 a day because you're on the site that day. So it's a like for like. No, go and get a price. You'll get a price. I said, I'm not getting a price from anyone else, because exactly like what you said, Nick, you get a price from someone else that don't know you. You've not got a 10, 12-year relationship with you, giving them the work. So the price is going to be different. You're Joe Public coming from them for the first time, whereas the price should reflect that. So I said to him, I says, look, I says, that's fine. You can take this fucking opportunity right now. You can be greedy. I was like, when you come back to me when the market crashes and there's no work, your day rate's £50 a day, and I will not fucking budge on that. I won't budge on that, because I'll reward loyalty and loyalty both ways. And he was like, I've done this for 30 years. I'm sure I'll be fine with 30. I'm saying it's fine. I've seen this happening twice now, like, up and down kind of trades. I'm like, that's fine. But it's so true right now. With trades that busy, to try and get the right guys. If you're starting out, then it would be quite hard, because they're not rewarding loyalty because you don't have any loyalty. You've not done any jobs with them. So to try and kind of show them what you can bring to the table and the amount of work you can give them, that could be quite hard. Like, I got sent a screenshot from a plumber, a local plumber to me. He says, you know that guy, don't you, Nick Ponty? And I'm like, yeah, how? Oh yeah, he posted on a group, a plumbers, fucking heating engineers group, or whatever. I'm needing a new plumber. I'm needing a regular plumber. I've got 110 properties over, which is true. He has got 110 properties under management, and the plumbers are fucking slagging off through group chats, and heard this shite umpteen times, like, this boy's full of shit, just trying to get a cheap job. And I said to Jordan, I says, no, he's got a letting agent, and he's got his own portfolio. He'd be a good contact to have. Imagine mentioning that plumber on the podcast and getting work, but they took it like it wasn't legit, and somebody was just trying to get a cheap job.
Sometimes people can be suspicious, and sometimes hurts people. So if people are not particularly happy in their personal life or their business life, they'll be quite quick to put somebody else down who's doing okay, and it's not a personal thing. It's more a reflection on them as an individual, or that plumber, I would say. And sometimes it's bravado, because there's too much testosterone in a group chat, and it's all guys sometimes. So it's never something to take personal.
I mean, like, to be honest, I'm not looking for any special deals. I'm just looking for somebody who actually wants to just turn up. Do you know what I mean?
do a decent job and get a fair price for the job, and there'll be a continuous relationship going forward.
A colleague of mine says, this is what he says. He's got a cafe, and he says to these people when he interviews them, I can get you up the road at 5 o'clock, and I can pay you on a Friday. I promise you that. And that's enough, because people want to get paid. Because you hear about people not getting paid. There's always videos online about people going to doors and going, give me my money. And they're not. That doesn't really happen for them. So getting paid is a big deal. For a lot of tradesmen, I find they live for the weekend. They get paid on a Friday. It's gone by the Monday. So they need to get paid on a Friday. And they don't have the backup money, I feel like.
You're 100% right. The ones I've got loyal to me are the same. They want pay. That flipping, I hit the button on my phone, and I get that as soon as you walk on site. Hit the button. It's past 3 o'clock. They want paid on a Friday, and if that's the loyalty to keep them in, and that's what they want, and that's what their requirement is, then if you can serve that, then they'll be loyal to you. Come back constantly for the right price.
Getting paid. That's what they want. They want paid. Doesn't matter if they broke something. They want paid. That's it. They want paid. I've had guys in the past get in touch with me, and they're like, that's us paid, that's us done, John Paul, £180 to plaster that ceiling. And you go, I can hear guys working in the background. You phone the client, you go, how they getting on? They're still working away, son.
We used to use a painter, and he literally, like that, he'd phone up, and it was like the last stroke of the brush was like that, straight in the phone.
Because they want paid. Their loyalty is, everybody's loyalties to themselves. First and foremost, their loyalties to themselves, to look after themselves, to look after their family. And if you can build a relationship with someone where you get mutual, a fair exchange, I'll do a job, you'll get paid, then it'll work. Yeah. But the minute you're not loyal to them, they'll be away. And just go.
What do you think stops people kind of going down this route and not outsourcing these tasks to these trades and building to try and grow, it kind of limits their growth going forward?
I think people are scared. First and foremost, people are scared. People are scared of change. They're scared of the unknown, and they're scared of failure.
They're scared of getting ripped off as well, eh? People are scared of getting ripped off.
Yeah, people are scared of being ripped off. But if you think about it, we go to school, you put your hand up to answer a question, you get it wrong, you're told you're wrong. Your classmates nigger and laugh because you've said something ridiculous. You do exams, you're graded on a pass or fail. If you fail, it's doomsday. And then you get into the big bad world where failure can be quite good because you're learning from your failures. And so people struggle to try something new because of that. They're scared because they're being conditioned through education of, if you get it wrong, you've failed. How do you go on your driving test? Oh, I failed. How many times is that you've failed? And that's a condition we get growing up. And it's breaking those conditions. It's breaking those belief systems. So we go, do you know, I make mistakes all the time. I had to work here on the phone last week. You'll never rang, are you? I'm like, no, I'm rang all the time. All the time. Don't care, but because I'll learn from it and we'll grow and we'll put things in place so it doesn't happen again. And that's what holds people back from outsourcing. That's what holds people back from hiring. They're scared that they'll fail. They're scared that there'll be a day they can't afford to have the wage run or whatever. Opposed to going, do you know what? This is going to be amazing. I'm going to hire this person. They're going to do a good job for me. This is going to free up my time, which allows me to make more money. They'll get paid no bother. I'll have a better work-life balance and it's going to be awesome. We're conditioned about failure throughout life and how it's such a bad thing. But it's not. It's far from it. It's far from it.
It's growth, it's learning, yeah, absolutely. What you've kind of leveraged up, you've grown a portfolio, a property portfolio by leveraging. So what kind of tasks would you advise someone to kind of outsource and to grow a property portfolio quite efficiently?
Find someone who can do it better than you and isn't going to rip you off. It's as simple as that. It doesn't need to be overcomplicated. I believe if somebody can do a job better than me, I'll let them do it. If it's a job I don't want to do, and I'd rather spend my time doing something else, get someone else to do it. So my properties that Nick looks after, and I'm not just blowing smoke here, have never looked so good. Nick will tell you, he's been in them before he's looked after them, and they're a bit of a riot, some of them, because I didn't take proper care of them. I've now got somebody that can take proper care of them. I don't need to worry about them. They don't take up headspace. If you think along the lines of you can make 10 amazing decisions every day, but you've got 100 to make, 90 of them are going to be amazing. Whereas if you leverage out to people who can do it better than you, one, they're going to do a better job, and two, you've now got 99 things or 10 things, so you can then make amazing decisions, and that those decisions will project you onto better things again. So it's having the belief that yes, it's going to cost you money, but it's an investment. It's not a cost. It's going to project you forward so that you can do other things, whether it be my rents went up. We've got one going on in the market just today or tomorrow, I think, isn't it? And the rent's going to go up £150 a month. I wouldn't have put the rent up £150 a month because I wouldn't have thought that was possible. I wouldn't have done the refurb to the same standard that makes it possible. And the local expert knows these things. Get people who are better than you that doing things. I don't fit a bathroom because people can fit a bathroom better than me, believe it or not. I don't run the shop because Kirsten in the shop does a far better job than me. She does a far better job of designing bathrooms. I've got a cleaner in the house to free up my time because I hate cleaning. I've got
that's a huge thing, by the way. That's a huge thing. They see that for us, that cleaner thing was a game changer. We used to argue, we used to fall out every weekend. It got to like a Saturday morning. We were like, right, we need to clean the house. And it was horrible because the kids would be like, sitting there watching the telly. You'd be cleaning around about them and stuff. Like, you're losing like 3 hours of your day. And then eventually we were just like, what are we doing here? Let's just pay somebody. So it's like 40, 50 quid a week or something like that. And then it's like, that's it done. We don't need to worry. That's a huge thing. Huge.
It's amazing.
I agree with John Paul with you. Like, the biggest thing for me for outsourcing is as a letting agent. Like, absolutely. Like, that's just, if I've said this before on the podcast, if I had Nick in the areas I operate, he would be running my portfolio because you see how passionate and good at he is at a letting agent. That's his skill set. He enjoys doing. I'd be fucking useless at that.
You've got to do it. You've got to find the right people. It's all about building a business, is building a network, getting the right people around about you with the same belief system as you, with the same desire. So for us, it's doing a bathroom to a certain standard and looking after a customer as best you possibly can. you've got to have people that are there want to do that. I believe that there's workmen that belong in building sites out the road of the general public, and there's ones you can let in your house.
No, it's true.
They can be really good because it's a full package. It's like getting a letting agent that actually cares. Who's going to answer the phone, who's going to get back to you and do as good a job as they possibly can for you, because they know they'll get the return on that. That was a year or so ago, used to took my first property on, and you've now got 4 of them. And then that wouldn't happen if you weren't passionate, if you weren't doing a good job. You get on to the next letting agent, and you run to the next legend until you find that.
Yeah. I think there's 3 things that I believe that people that are really wanting to make a go of the property should try to be concentrate on. Number 1, sourcing deals, getting out there, doing viewings, building up relationships with estate agents and stuff like that. That's a huge thing. And it's one of those things that you're spending all this time and there's no money coming in, but it's investment, like you say, it's investing time in that task. Will eventually it'll come good. There's just general kind of networking, and then tying in with that is the social media stuff as well. So social media stroke networking, I guess it's all the sort of same thing. Just putting your face, your name out there, speaking to other people, and with that will come opportunity as well, whether it's you're looking for investment of private investors or you're looking for deals, whatever. And I think that sometimes I struggle with those things as a business owner and an investor, because I'm like, like my wife used to slag me for it all the time. She'd be like, you spend like so much time on Facebook or, LinkedIn or Instagram and that. Why are you spending all this time on social media? And it's like, okay, I'm not getting paid right now to do this, but eventually that's where I'm going to get my customers. That's where I'm going to get my clients. That's where I'm going to get my deals. And John Paul, like, where did you find me? It was probably through social media.
Social media, Facebook, Instagram. I think it was Instagram. Liked what I was seeing.
Listen to the podcast. Here's he's reputable. Here's he's passionate about what he does as a business.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. So an example of this would be, I have a mentor that I pay thousands of pounds for. His name's Rob Moore. He's big in property down south. He's written 18 books. I started off by watching.
Never heard of him. Never heard of him.
I started off reading his books. I then joined his supporter program at £3 something a month. I then started buying a couple of his books. I then paid for one-to-one mentoring phone calls with him, and I'm now in one of his mastermind groups. So these things, he didn't get those thousands of pounds payment from me for 6 months mentoring right away. That was built up over time. And sometimes people are in a society where you can click a button and get your dinner delivered in 40 minutes. People expect things instant, or you can drive up to a window and say, Big Mac, or whatever place you want to go to. You drive to the next window, 30 seconds later, and there's your dinner. People expect things so much quicker than the reality of doing property. It takes time, it takes networking, it takes passion and consistency. You need to keep being consistent in your message and what you're doing.
It's hard as well. Sorry, mate.
It takes time to be consistent as well. So if you're going about saying, oh, I'm going to be a property deal sourcer, and then next week you're going, oh, I'm going to be a mortgage broker. Oh, next week I'm going to... People are, who has this guy? What does he actually do? What is his message? What is he actually doing? But if you go, I'm a property sourcer, or I'm a letting agent, or I'm a property investor, and you just keep banging that same drum, that same message all the time, it gets out there, it filters through, people remember you. It's like DFS. They advertise all the time. Arnold Clark, they advertise all the time, so that you're in their mind when you're ready to purchase. The first person you think of when you need a new sofa, DFS. When you need a new car, Arnold Clark.
Let me touch on something before we move on there, mate. And you did mention about paying a lot of money for education. Touch more on that. Have you always paid for education, and is it a great return on investment, or how do you look at the return on investment for paying for education?
I have paid people money before, and they've been awful, and I've paid people money and they've been amazing. I think you need to do your due diligence. Don't get caught up in the romance of their headlines, and have a wee bit of digging about, and take a bit of time to think about whether they're the right person for you, etc. But education is really important. I spend 2 hours a day on personal development, every day, without fail, 2 hours. Whether it be listening to educational podcasts, educational books, spending time with mentors, doing one-to-one calls, so that I can get a better understanding of where I'm at and to push my businesses forward. It's so important, but you need to be very careful about who you get involved with. Get involved with a guy, and his colleague tried to steal my business from me. I was very vulnerable at the time, and he started off going, oh, I can help you a wee bit here and maybe do some installs for you, to I bring my own value, maybe we could be business partners. And I was like, well, that's fine, half a date's yours then, okay? Oh, well, I don't know about that. I'm not, well, can we be business partners then? To, oh, do you know, actually, I think you should make yourself bankrupt, but to make sure you serve your customers, you should sign your business over to me first. And that was all from someone who's meant to be mentoring me. So you need to be very careful of that. And that's probably one of the things that got me into coaching and stuff, because I just thought, that's terrible. I'm going to start putting my own message out there for free and helping people, not be that guy who's trying to rip people off. And it turns out he's done it 3 or 4 times, tried to get into people's businesses by claiming to be something he's not. So you've got to be very careful of that. But if you have the right people who are doing it, they're not just talking it, they're doing it, and they're educating people, they're probably the right people to get involved in. So if you're wanting a property mentor, you want to be doing it with a guy who's doing property, not a guy who has done one buy-to-let, and then all of a sudden they're claiming to be a guru, or been in a 4-day course and claiming to be a guru. What you want is somebody who goes in the 4-day course and go, I've just done this 4-day course, I thought it was great, and I'm going to work really hard and I'll share a bit of my knowledge, but I'll be up front with you, I'm pretty new to this. Opposed to somebody who's been doing it for 10 years, people have been coming to them for help, and then they go, I should really be charging for this. And that's the people that get involved in. But education is so important in everything. And sometimes I think business coaches and property coaches and mentors get a bad name because they think people are just out there to get their money. But you'll go to the gym and get a PT. If you've got kids at school and they're struggling with English or maths or whatever subject, you'll get them a coach. You'll get somebody an extra bit of tuition. But for some reason, when it comes to business and it comes to property, people think they can do it themselves, and that's not always the case.
No,
great
absolutely.
advice, mate. Great advice. No, it was really good chat. And listeners, I really did not bring John Paul on here just to give me a good client testimonial. So apologies for that. We really did, we really think that John Paul's got good value in terms of, talking about, business and growth and mindset and outsourcing and life leverage and all that stuff.
Fucking game, and he tries to sell me a bathroom every other week on Instagram.
Yeah, usually my ex-display stuff because I know you're cheap.
Yeah, the prices are still too expensive for me.
Well, he only pays his workman £50 a day, mate. I mean, geez, oh, no wonder they're falling out with you.
That's when the market crashes and they come crawling back looking for work.
Aye. Right, John Paul, finish us up here and let us know where people can find you if they're interested in working with you, or tell us about you. So, best places to find me would be on Instagram, just John Paul Reilly, and again on LinkedIn, just John Paul Reilly again. If anybody wanted a bit of my positive vibes, if you like, because that's what we kind of started off talking about, do videos on there on business and mindset and growth, and you can get a laugh at my chat, and that's the best place to find me on social media. Facebook, don't add me on Facebook. I've seen you're on the TikTok now, mate. You've joined the TikTok as well. I'm on TikTok as well, yeah. But I don't know why. I just, because it's a social media platform, I was like, why not? But yeah, don't try and add me on Facebook, because you will not get a friends request accepted unless I actually know you. I seem to get a lot of people trying to add me every time I go on a forum or whatever. I get all these people who I have no idea who they are trying to add me on Facebook, and that's my personal side of things. But Instagram and LinkedIn, just my name. There's not many John Paul Reillys out there, so you should be able to find me fairly easy. Good, mate. Thanks for joining us. Really appreciate the time. Well, thanks for having me on. It's been awesome. Hope you guys enjoyed that chat with John Paul. Really good guy. Great to hear what he's up to. And as ever, guys, if you could head over to Apple Podcasts, leave us a review and touch in with us on social media, that would be great. Yep, absolutely. And we'll look forward to seeing you in person if you're attending our networking events in Edinburgh, Glasgow, Aberdeen and Dundee on the first Wednesday of every month. Loving it. Take care. I'll speak to you soon. Cheers, guys.